And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Bubbles, the podcast about everything comics, anime, pop culture, and all that entails. I'm a little excited about today's episode just because of one of the topics we're going to talk about. But I'm Terry Williams, and this gentleman next to me is Mr. Ben Dunn. How are you, sir?
Doing good, Terry. Doing good.
Good. So I mentioned this was going to be a something that I'm excited about, and it's because one of the things I wanted to talk about today was I just saw the trailer for X-Men 97, the animated series from back in the 90s that kind of blew me away when I was early. It started in 92, so I was 22, I guess, when it came out, 21, 22, so college kid, and that was something, go back to the dorms and can't wait to see. So I was super excited about that. And now the casting, from what I've seen from the trailer, it looks like and sounds like it's kind of the same type of anime style, maybe some of the same artists, that kind of thing, and some of the same voice actors, it sounds.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the production of this one. I do know that back in the day did it debut in 97? I thought it debuted a lot earlier than that.
Debuted in 1992. It ended in 97.
1992. I thought so because I remember that one of the people who worked on it was Will Mignon, who did Real Ghostbusters. And
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And he was one of the principal architects of bringing that to production. At least as far as behind the scenes. I'm not sure what the actual history of the X-Men 92. I know that they did a pilot called Pride of the X-Men.
Pride of the X-Men.
Yep, and I think that proved to be pretty successful. You know, ironically enough, the X-Men, that wasn't their first appearance. They did manage some appearances in the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends series.
Yep.
You know, as cameos.
Absolutely. Yes.
So that wasn't their first animated appearance. But it was the one that set the X-Men on their trajectory to become this huge, franchise.
Yes, That was, for me, everyone knows I'm an X-Men buff, so when they came out, actually, an animated series, because I did watch Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends and like their cameos in that, or co-starring roles, whatever you want to call it. So when they got their own series, I was extremely excited. And again, now I'm excited again to see that it's back and looks kind of the same. And nostalgia for me, basically, more than anything. And I'm want to relive some of that because if you're a child of, I guess, the 80s or 90s or like me, 70s, that was, like I said, college days for me. So it was must watch Saturday morning stuff.
Well, that should be interesting. I don't know what kind of audience they're trying to aim for. I mean, it seems like doing a sequel, I suppose, to the original
Yeah, it
series.
seems like it's picking up exactly where it left off in 97. Like it's basically just starting up.
Are they? I was curious because it would seem to me like they're trying to, try to get that nostalgia crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But X-Men was originally intended for, a younger audience. So I'm not sure whether or not this is aimed at a younger audience, or are they going to actually change it up a bit for a more mature audience?
Good question. From the trailer, it doesn't look it, but again,
I mean, X-Men, there's no doubt, does delve into a lot of, themes, deep themes. Of course, acceptance of somebody who's different. The mutant, all that, the aspect of it. So it does remain to be seen whether or not how far they're going to take this series as far as the tone and the story. Are they going to do a more mature version of X-Men 97, or are they going to keep it tonally geared at a younger audience?
Yeah, that will be something to see. But for me, I'm excited. I'm hoping it leaves off kind of where it was, because I kind of thought it was the original series, the one in 92, I thought was more of it was kid-themed, but a lot of it, man, they still dealt with some adult type.
Yeah.
Well, I think they're trying to. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, they definitely had some adult themes. The one that sticks out to me, I believe, is they had an X-23 episode of the original X-Men, and I remember that being pretty deep. And there's some like backstory episodes of that get pretty dark, and it's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, the one for me was the death of Morph.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Man, that was gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
And I do believe they kept Magneto's origin, too.
Yes,
they do.
Yeah, they actually mentioned him being in the concentration camp and all that kind of stuff. So it was pretty deep as far as a kid's show was concerned. But ostensibly this still was aimed at a younger
Absolutely,
audience.
yes, absolutely.
Well, I
absolutely.
mean, is in the same era. We were just coming off the A Team kind of feel, and X-Men maybe didn't follow exactly A Team style, but they had superpowers. They did crazy things, and they, every once in a while they had dealt with some, shooting a guy that was like, he's probably not alive anymore.
Yeah, I think by that time that was the Jim Lee era,
Yes.
so to speak. So in
It
that
was.
case, they were trying to tap into that,
Mhm.
zeitgeist as far as the X-Men were concerned. I mean, they could have gone all the way back to the original, John Byrne,
Right.
Chris Claremont, Dave Cockrum run, but they decided to go ahead and spin right off into the Jim Lee era.
Yeah, it was 100% the Jim Lee team. It even had Jubilee. It had Bishop. All the guys.
Well,
that
the
were there.
costumes also
Yeah.
were the same.
Yeah, all the costumes, everything. Yeah, which to me, outside of the Claremont run, is my favorite run of the X-Men.
Well, it should be interesting. I mean, the animation definitely looks better.
Yeah.
So I guess they actually spent some money on this one.
Yeah, I'm hoping Disney got something right here. Let's hope.
Let's hope.
Fingers crossed.
Yes. The next thing I wanted to talk about, we mentioned earlier, talking offset, was the casting of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Who is the cast of Fantastic? All I know is who Mr. Fantastic is.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal is Mr. Fantastic. They brought in Vanessa Kirby, which I know from some stuff, but I can't think of what.
So she was Oscar nominated for her work on Pieces of a Woman, and then she also has been in the Mission Impossible movies, the past two Mission Impossible movies. She was also in she was on a TV show. I can't remember which TV show, but she's a fairly accomplished actress
Okay.
in of herself. She's been Oscar nominated.
Cool.
So.
And
Joseph
who's the Human
Quinn.
Torch?
That's Joseph Quinn. He's actually from Stranger Things.
Eddie, my boy Eddie, the best, the second best casting in my opinion on this cast.
Okay, and then the thing is, I think it's Ebon Moss.
Ebon Moss Bachrach.
No idea who he is.
He is the standout actor that plays Richie, cousin Richie from The Bear. And let me tell you something.
I haven't seen The Bear yet.
You need to.
Okay.
Fantastic show. Season 2 is an incredible season.
Okay.
But he is the standout actor, other than the main actor from that show, but he is the standout actor from that show. And I think he is a very physical, very motion-based actor, and he feels like a Ben Grimm, like the Thing kind of guy. So I was really happy.
Cool.
Well, it sounds like a very interesting casting. I mean,
I was happy with the Torch and the Ben Grimm.
Not Mr. Fantastic.
I have my doubts. I have my thoughts, and we talked a little bit about this beforehand.
Yes.
What do you think, Terry?
I love Pedro Pascal.
Same.
Absolutely love him. I just not sure I'm loving him in this role.
I don't know either.
It seems a little bit of odd casting. I'm not sure whether or not he actually fits the look and feel of a Mr. Fantastic, at least his comic book version.
Right.
And it wouldn't be so bad if this was the very first Fantastic movie they ever did. But we had the Fox versions that came out, so it's been pretty well. It has a movie pedigree.
Yes.
That people can go back and look on. Even if you go back far back as the 1990s version of the Fantastic Four. So it will remain to be seen whether comic book purists will accept a Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic.
I'm wondering if it's one of those things where their studios are thinking, let's bring in a big name to help push it over because of the history of the Fantastic Four failing at the box office.
What do you think? Pedro Pascal's a big name?
I do right now. I think he's the hot name because of The Mandalorian and The Last of Us.
The Last of Us, and then also he is I think right now he is being considered like tier 1 acting material at this point. He has kind of hit this reconnaissance, I would say, where Matthew McConaughey suddenly started getting these crazy big roles after True Detective, like Inception and Dallas Buyers Club. I think he's hitting that after the success of, he had a huge role or not a huge, but a very memorable role in Game of Thrones. And now he's just kind of catapulting. I don't know if I love this, though.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I mean, man, again, I love the actor. I love his work. I just don't know how I'll feel about this role. I'll give it a chance, but I'm just not sure.
Do they have writing and directing?
No, I don't think so.
I don't believe so. And also, they haven't mentioned a villain yet, so that's. I'm hoping it's Doom.
Are we?
But
let's be honest. If it's anything but Doom, we have a problem. Or we
no.
also talked about Annihilus.
Yep.
Which is in my opinion, the second best choice.
Oh, actually, Josh, they did announce the director.
Shoot him.
It's WandaVision director Matt Shakman, Jeff Kaplan, and Ian Springer.
It's a 3-person team.
Yep.
Yikes! I don't like this at all.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. That's a big no-no.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe one of them will take control. Man, again, this is all just what I was reading from today's release, so I'm really not sure.
Yeah, I mean, have you heard anything about the story? I mean, I've heard rumors, but
that's one thing they haven't said is anything about the story. But they did say basically that this is now due as a release date of July 25th, 2025. So it basically has replaced the Thunderbolts release date. Thunderbolts has moved up to May 5th. And then they gave release dates for Captain America, Brave New World, February 14th, and Blade, November 7th. So it did give some, we have dates for some things now. So maybe for next year. So it's kind of a good thing, I guess. At least they're back working, and Mahershala Ali has officially signed on for Blade, so that's good. I'm not sure. I haven't heard any scuttlebutt about Captain America yet. I'm guessing it's going to be Sam Wilson.
No, that is the one confirmed thing of
Okay.
that. It is which I'm all for. I think it could be really good. I think it's a risk that Marvel hasn't taken yet, and it feels like a good risk to me. It's a risk they haven't taken in a while.
Yeah, so maybe I'm hoping they're using the Fantastic Four as kind of the anchor for the next wave of the MCU.
Well, they're going to have to do a lot of, they're going to have to do something really, really outstanding, because the last Fantastic Four movie that came out, by Josh Trank was a huge misstep.
Yes.
So a lot of people may still have that memory of the last Fantastic Four.
The last Fantastic Four, was that the...
That was the Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan, yes.
Yeah, the absolute travesty. I just want to say I was a huge hater of Josh Trank before that movie came out, and I was very vindicated when that movie came out, and it was awful. I literally went to every one of my friends. I was like, "So you sure about that movie now? You sure?"
Well, then hopefully the whatever taste that was left in people's mouths after that movie, will not translate into how this movie will be portrayed. So they're going to have to do something to really wash that last movie out of people's minds.
I'm very interested to see how this Matt Shakman director does. He's done TV episodes.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
Oh my God, he actually directed 43 episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. All right, never mind. I'm a big fan. All right. So he's going to do great.
Yeah.
So do you think this is the start of their phase 6, or do you think?
I'm hoping because
do you think the phase 5 is still ongoing?
I think so, but with all the Brie Larson scuttlebutt about her maybe not reprising Captain Marvel and all that kind of stuff, at least that's what I was reading this weekend. She had some statement where someone had asked her, hey, are you coming back as Captain Marvel? And she said, if the fans want me to. So I'm thinking after the Marvels flop, I don't know. I'm just between the Marvels flop and now the Madam Web debacle, Marvel, Sony, the Marvel products are just hurting, it seems.
Do you think that they could keep her in the same way that Marvel kept what's his name? The Hulk, where he never got his own movie, but he showed up in different movies all the time. Do you think that's a possibility for her going forward instead of having features of Captain Marvel?
I don't know.
I hope, because to me,
I feel like she could be a good supporting character.
Yeah, I think they rode the Captain Marvel character into the ground. I think they tried to force feed us Captain Marvel, and we weren't ready to be force fed Captain Marvel.
We weren't ready for
not
$300 million of Captain Marvel.
Well, she didn't really endear us with her character.
No.
You know, she wasn't like a Captain America or Iron Man. It was just she was not. She wasn't really a likable character. To be honest.
I don't think, and I don't think it's Brie Larson's fault.
I don't think it is
I'm
either.
not saying anything against her because I actually think she's a good actress. I just think that role was you could have cast whoever, and it was a no-win situation. I think.
Well, it all comes down to the writing,
Yeah.
really. I mean,
Yeah,
the
the
script.
first movie was horrible. I thought
it was bad.
it was
too.
bad. I thought the best part of it was Monica Rambeau
Monica Rambeau and whatever,
and the cat.
Steven.
The cat. The cat
Yeah.
was the best one. I mean, it's like with Thor, the whole Love and Thunder. When you leave the movie saying, "Man, I like those goats." If that's what you're thinking as you leave, then to me it didn't do its job as far as casting her. And again, I love her as an actress. She's done some really good things, but that role, I think they missed the boat with it.
So what do you think? What do you guys think out of the movies we just announced? Captain America, Fantastic Four, Blade, and what was the other one that got a date?
Thunderbolts,
Thunderbolts. Which one do you think is going to be the best one out of all those?
Blade.
I think it's going to be Blade too.
Well, let me rephrase
I don't
that.
know.
I hope it's Blade.
I hope it's Blade too.
Although, but with me, you know me, and I love the genre, so I'm hoping they all do well. But I just have higher expectations for Blade because I'm hoping they make Blade R-rated.
I think they have to. I think with the success of Deadpool, I think they will.
Yep.
And I think they have to.
Well, but we'll see.
What a transition by Ryan. I mean, why did I say Ryan? Good Lord, where am I? I was thinking Ryan Reynolds. Josh, what a transition by Josh into Deadpool. The trailer was out.
Yes.
What do we think?
I'm intrigued.
Yes.
It looks very promising. I'm not a big fan of the TVA, but I'm not sure how big a role they'll have in that movie. I'm sure that was one of those things they had to put in there in order to connect everything. But I mean, it looks interesting.
I think it did its job.
Yeah, I think it did.
It did its job to satiate, to kind of give people what they wanted, but not everything. It really didn't give away the story.
No, it didn't.
It didn't give away anything on how Hugh Jackman looks.
No, the big part that I took from it is I watched the trailer. I watched it a couple of times where the TVA showing a Deadpool the different timelines and showing the Avengers, showing Hulk, showing all these characters from the MCU.
Yeah.
So tying it into, I guess we're finally getting it tied into, Deadpool tied into the actual MCU, which was kind of cool, which also means Wolverine is going to be tied into the MCU in some way.
Do you think that because it's TVA and it's multiple universes now, do you think that this is how this was my thought, and the big secret could be reason why they didn't show Wolverine right there. What if they introduced the new Wolverine in this movie and they've already had him cast, and it's just they have Hugh Jackman for like the majority of the movie, and then when he gets thrown into MCU world of whatever it is, it's a different person, and it's whoever. You think that's a possibility?
Anything's possible. I mean, when you're dealing with something like Deadpool, which has always been tongue-in-cheek to begin with, breaking the fourth wall and everything, and this is his first official entry into the MCU. Am I correct in assuming that?
Correct.
So what he does, and I mean, the X-Men have not made an official appearance either in the MCU, so it just remains to be seen how they all fit into the actual storyline and what they hope to accomplish with this. My understanding is, and I could be wrong, but there's speculation going that it's going to reset the entire MCU, basically, and reintroduce the X-Men into the MCU.
Yes. My hope, and this I think is the perfect stepping on point or stepping out point, so to speak, for the MCU, is that now since they've introduced the TVA, there's such a big important role in what's going forward. You can actually go in and introduce. You can keep the storylines as they were. So Phase 1 through 4 remains the same. All that continuity can stay, and now we're branching out into these other Earths, these other realities, and now we can introduce, for instance, Miles Morales. We can introduce the X-Men. We can introduce these other people and teams that we've been thinking about and wanting to see, and now they can do it kind of however and tie it in some kind of way through the TVA at all times.
Well, I mean, they're keeping whatever the story is under wraps. The only thing I glean from the trailer is that the TVA is involved. Unless you've seen Loki, then you probably have no idea
Right.
who they are.
Right.
And so I think that might be, a little bit maybe a misstep because, if people aren't familiar with it, they'll have to explain, who they are, what they are, and what they're doing. In order so people don't get lost in the storyline. And then the second, of course, is what they're hoping to accomplish with this. We know that Wolverine, I don't know how much Wolverine will actually be in the movie.
Right.
We don't know. He is in the title, so I assume he's going to be in there a bit.
That is one of the things that did kind of, that I was, I don't want to say shocked, but I didn't really expect it to be titled Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, I thought it'd be Deadpool 3.
Right.
See, that's why I'm like, what if they introduce the new one?
Yeah, that would, or is the new one Laura Kinney in
or
X-23.
multiple versions.
Or multiple versions. Yeah, you had multiple versions of Loki.
And truth be told, there's a different version of Deadpool too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was introduced in X-Men. So, it's possible.
My God.
Just totally drained my life force.
To reiterate with the X-23 stuff, Daphne King, the actress that plays X-23 and Logan, she is a phenomenal actress. She does incredible work. She has been working on the TV show, oh my gosh, the Golden Compass show.
Oh, really?
She's been the main character of the Golden Compass show. That's very good. And she's grown up. I think she's like 16, 17 now. So she's getting to the age where she could
reprise her role.
Reprise and take on
As an older,
fully adult role.
That would be cool.
X-23. I think it could be really good.
Yeah, see, I think there's so much that can be gleaned from this. I think this is a smart move for Marvel in that they can now open up the entire Marvel universe and tie everything together in some, even if it's a reach, they can still tie it together. They can even tie in, if they wanted to, tie in the X-Men movies from the past is, different timelines or however they want to do it. And this, the McAvoy Xavier and Stewart Xavier's both exist just in different timelines, that kind of stuff, so they can bring all these people in. So when you have, I know they had planned, or the plan was for the Kang Dynasty to be a part of this. I don't know if that's still, if they're going to recast Kang.
I think they already have recast him.
Really? I didn't know
that's
that.
what I heard.
Okay.
I heard that they're going to, get that storyline over and done with as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like Marvel is actually doing some things to move forward while DC kind of just...
Well, I think it's waiting. I think it's just waiting on James Gunn at this point.
Yeah, because all we have for sure this year is Aquaman, right?
That already came out.
That's.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
It did. Yeah.
That was weak.
The only thing.
Wow.
I think the only thing DC related is Joker 2.
Joker
2. But that's not main DCU.
Right.
That's not part of that. And Batman are going to be their own separate things. It sounds like. Which is just weird, but whatever.
Yep.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm looking forward to that. I think the only thing that's probably going to hold them back is the R rating. That will definitely eat into their box office, I think. But I mean, does anyone really even pay attention to R ratings anymore? So
no, I don't think so. But
I don't think when you go to a theater, they ever card you if you go to an R-rated movie?
No, not anymore.
No. I mean, I would think you would have to look extremely young for them to say, "Hey, 8-year-old, why are you here?"
Yeah, for sure.
But outside of that, I think that because you see so much, just regular TV now, you see so much gratuitous. There's so much. The bar has been pushed from when you and I were young, Ben, where profanity was really limited to basically words like hell and damn and stuff like that, and those were still limited, to now on, you hear a lot harder words just in everyday watching television, and see more gratuitous. Not I won't say
Well,
gratuitous.
I mean, with the R rating on Deadpool, I think it's going to be mostly for language, probably for violence.
Yep.
I don't think there's ever been any nudity in Deadpool,
No.
as far as I know.
No, it's been really implied with the one with all the sex they were having.
There's some sex scenes, but they're not
right, but
overt
it's not like
or graphic.
Right.
So I think the R rating is going to be mostly for language and violence, which is perfectly fine, I think, with most people.
Yeah, you see it on a daily basis, so that's okay.
So we'll see. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be interesting when it comes out, and I will tell you, I'm very curious about it.
Very. I think it's going to be, I don't know, I'm excited. Just with my mind thinking of where all the tentacles that it can go, all the ways that the MCU can go now, and the characters they can bring in without, if they don't want to bring in that offshoot Howard the Duck character and do a Howard the Duck movie, for instance, it doesn't have to affect the whole MCU.
Well, I mean, this is a Hail Mary pass for Marvel. They haven't had any big hits the last couple of, other than Guardians of the Galaxy 3. None of their movies have broken $1 billion. And I don't even think Guardians did.
I don't think it did.
It came very close, but it didn't break it. So is Deadpool 3 going to be their first $1 billion movie in a while?
I think so.
So?
I mean, just because of the drawing power of Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman back, I think it will. And that's going to I think it's getting enough buzz that there's going to be enough. I think look for a big opening month. And after that, it'll kind of settle down.
Yeah, I think it's going to have a really good big week. It'll all depend on word of mouth. If people really like it and the story is good, it'll have legs.
I don't know how far this movie will go internationally, but I think it'll have a big domestic day. I think you could expect closer to like a $400 or $500 million.
Well, you don't have
office domestic.
You don't have to do big international. You can do well here if you just have a good movie.
That's always been how Marvel kind of gets them over the $1 billion mark, is the international. But with this one, it's such a tongue-in-cheek comedy with kind of American comedy.
Americanized, yeah.
It's to me, it seems more of a domestic box office thing, but I think it's going to play very well with domestic.
I think it also depends how much Ryan Reynolds had control over the movie. I mean, if he's allowed to do whatever he wanted, with just certain criteria that he had to put in there, it can transcend what people expect from an MCU movie. And doesn't have to play to an international audience. It can play very well for a domestic audience if the movie is good and appeals to a large segment of the population.
Exactly.
I mean, Joker 2 is a good example of that.
Yeah.
I mean, Joker first one is a good example of that.
Yeah, if it gets decent reviews after the first week, I think it could. If it comes out anything near what the last couple between the Marvels and Madam Web and that kind of stuff has been doing, yeah. It's done.
Speaking of Madam Web, that came out this week.
Yes.
I said, really, when I heard that.
Yep. Yeah. Kind of like me with Aquaman. Oh, it's been out. Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, so one of the things, what I found really, really funny is one of my friends basically shared a post on Facebook, and he basically said he had a picture of Madam Web, the movie trailer, the movie poster, and was like, I really want to apologize to Morbius. I didn't think there could be a worse movie.
Yikes.
And yet there is. That's really scary to me.
Yeah, that movie's dead on arrival. I mean, it doesn't make any sense why they would do a Madam Web movie, especially in the theaters. I mean, I could see Madam Web maybe as a streaming movie. Maybe that might work. I don't know what the budget is on this movie, so they probably could have recouped their money back just selling it to Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's one of those that I think, in my opinion, I think Marvel kind of wanted to, they were into the leading lady role, and this is a full lady ensemble, and I think they wanted to jump into the thing of just trying to grasp at whatever they could, and since this is a second tier, third tier, fourth tier Marvel character that is in the Spider-Verse, it's one of Spider-Man's villains or Spider-Man's allies. It's one of those things where they thought, hey, if we can capture the audience that doesn't know comics, tie it into Spider-Man, then we have a hit. Hopefully, like the Guardian success.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm not familiar with the Madam Web character. I know she appeared a long time ago, and I don't know what her role is as far as being in the Spider-Verse is concerned.
Yeah, she's basically just a precog. I never liked. I never found where she fit into Spider-Man continuity. To me, she was kind of an outlier. I know she was a big, Amazing Spider-Man thing, and it was a great. Her first appearance spiked for a while in Amazing Spider-Man number 210. But for me, when I read the book when I was younger, I think it came out in the 80s. It was one of those, oh, that story sucked. Let's get on to something good. I mean, but again, I was a teenager, so I was like, wow, why do they have this old woman?
It's a very odd choice.
Why did they have
It's a
this
very
old
odd
woman?
choice. I mean, she's not exactly, integral to this whole Spider-Man universe.
No, not. Man, if she didn't exist,
I mean,
it wouldn't
fans
affect
were not
it at all.
clamoring
No.
for a
Agreed.
Madam Web
no,
comic.
it wasn't like, oh, what is Venom? Where everybody wanted to know about this Venom character. She was not that at all.
Even the original Jessica Drew Spider-Woman.
Yep.
She's been around since the 70s. Yeah. So it's odd that they wouldn't have picked her to feature into a movie instead of Madam Web, which is, like I said, a very odd choice. I don't know what Sony was thinking, trying to.
I just think, man, I really do feel that it's that fourth, fifth tier main character that no one knew anything about, and they thought we can.
Well, I can understand Morbius because he's been around a while.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually, featured in his own solo books, and he's been part of he's met almost every single.
Yeah, but that was just shoddy filmmaking with that movie. I mean, it was just purely poor execution with Morbius, I think.
I think the character, see, and that, I think, Josh, you're on to something. I think Morbius as a character could have his own standalone movie.
Yeah.
Kind of so do you, Ben. He could have his own. He's a character that has legs.
Would have been great if Morbius had actually fought Blade.
Yes.
I mean, that's where it was supposed to go.
Yes.
I thought the whole purpose of a Morbius movie was to introduce Blade.
That's
right.
What I thought. I was thinking as I watched and fought through that
2
movie.
hours and 30 minutes. God.
Of that movie, I was thinking, okay, the payoff is going to be I get to see Blade, and it wasn't.
It turned out to be a
spoiler.
Yeah.
Blade is not there.
So
He never was.
If this is definitely going to be a flop of a movie. So what does that say about Craven, the upcoming Craven movie?
Not good.
I'm already out on it. I like the only thing about Craven that I so far am interested in is that it is R-rated. Outside of that, the way that they butchered his
Origin story
is horrible to me.
Horrible.
I don't know why they would take such opportunity with that character to just rewrite his origin.
Yeah, the thing about it is that all of these movies, they seem to have no connection.
No,
None.
none. It's just they just throw a movie out there like a standalone movie, and you really can't.
Yeah,
No.
there's no interlocking thing to to sort of connect everything together.
Yeah, which is what I think with the MCU through Phase 1 from Iron Man on, they had that one connecting incident at the end of each movie, which was Nick Fury.
Mm-hmm.
And we could see where this is going with these. I think even with something as bad as Morbius, if there would have been the payoff at the end of Blade,
Oh, it would have been worth it.
it would have been, okay, I see where this is going. At least, okay, that movie wasn't good, but I see kind of where it's going and the legs they're trying to build, the structure, the foundation.
But it didn't.
With this, it was just like, I felt like we're going to advertise this Morbius character to all you comic nerds out there. Come see it. Took our money and was like, we don't care if you liked it or not. We got your money.
Yeah, Morbius could have
Yep.
been a jumping off springboard for the horror segment of the Marvel Universe.
Would have been
Oh my
perfect.
God, it would have been
It
great.
would have been perfect because Werewolf by Night was amazing.
Amazing. It's probably the best thing they've come out with in the past
so if
like
they
3
would have
years.
done, because that opened the door, Morbius could have opened the door for Elsa, Man-Thing, all of these creatures into the actual live action version.
Yeah, and they
So-
could have actually done a series of low budget horror MCU movies.
Yeah,
And
yeah, a
that's-
whole leg of the MCU devoted to the horror part
And
of it.
that,
Ghost
guess
Rider.
what? Low budget horror makes money.
Yeah.
So they would have actually hit profits on those movies.
Yeah, you
too.
could do Ghost Rider, you could do Man-Thing, you could do Bloodstone, you could do Morbius,
And we'd see all of them.
Blade. Yeah,
And-
I would be there
and
with
Marvel-
bells on.
Marvel
Yeah.
did Tomb of Dracula too.
Yeah,
Oh,
Tomb of I mean, there's so
God.
much. Monster Frankenstein.
Monster Frankenstein.
Monster
Yeah, that's what I was
Frankenstein.
thinking.
There's
Yeah.
so much that. That would have been such a
And
realm we
they
could
could
have
all,
had.
they could all accumulate a legion of monsters like the Avengers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
maybe at some point some galactic threat, they fight at first, become friends,
Or
and
even
fight
better,
the
it
villain.
Or
could
they
have been-
fight Dracula.
Or it
Yeah.
could have been, or it could have literally been Deadpool versus zombie Marvel.
Vampires,
you know?
yeah.
Zombies, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ooh,
it could have been
yeah.
something. Like it could have
Yeah.
been something like that. I don't know, but it just they missed the mark on the horror side of things. I don't know. Now, to be fair, I don't know if they missed the mark because of what it was either WB or Universal. It was Universal. I don't know if they stopped trying to do that with what Universal tried to do with the Mummy,
The Dark
like,
Universe.
the dark universe they tried to do, where they had all the casting done. They already paid Tom Cruise $1 billion or whatever it was to like reprise his role as the Mummy character, throughout this all these different things. But then after the Mummy, they completely shot it, which by the way wasn't like the worst movie in the world,
Right.
Right. But I don't know if they shut that idea down. But the thing is, you don't do horror big budget.
Right.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
If you keep it low budget, which is what, let's be honest, every single great horror film ever made was
Yeah.
always lower budgeted,
Yeah.
that would have been great.
Yep.
Mhm.
And the big thing with me for Marvel and even Sony, tying them in together with just Marvel as the umbrella with all these characters, I'm wondering if by the way they've treated things lately, if the actors they've been able to get, the Chris Evans, the Pedro Pascals, all these folks, Brie Larsons, are going to start shying away because these are really good actors that are taking some really bad roles.
They are.
And if they're just going to start saying, "Nah, we don't really want to do a Marvel movie,"
I mean, let's be honest. When's the last time a script like Captain America: Winter Soldier was slid across any of their chairs for a Marvel movie? You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. They're
it's-
doing. If they do it, I think they do it because they know, oh, I'm going to get paid, for this
Exactly.
role.
Yeah.
But I think when they slid that script across to Chris Evans, he was like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
this is good."
No, there is no way you say no to Winter Soldier.
Yeah, and there's no
way
way-
you say no to Guardians of the Galaxy
there's
1.
no way they slid the script to Madam Web across the table, and they were like, "This is it."
Well,
there-
it got made.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
attached, it was kind of one of those things where they opened the first page and there's a check for $15 million. right on
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
First page
Yeah.
kind
So
of
you
thing,
just
yeah.
stopped reading. It's like, I'm in.
well,
Yeah,
I
I'll
think
do it.
that Sony was filled with a lot of hubris because Venom was a surprise hit.
Mhm.
They didn't expect that to do the numbers that it did. So they probably thought, well, if we could do it with Venom, we can do it with all the Spider-Man villains.
But that's the thing with Venom, though, and I think that's where they missed the mark, is that I could have created Venom, and people would have went to watch it because it's Venom. Madam Web, no one knows who that is except us. Even folks like me that grew up Marvel Comics, it's not a character that I'm really familiar with. And
Yeah.
so I think they missed the boat with that. If they would have taken, I don't know, as you said,
Spider-Woman?
Spider-Woman,
Yeah.
and made her a character, it would have been more effective than, because now they're doing Madam Web, a character
Well, look,
no one
they
knows,
have
and they
all
did
the
it
ing-
badly.
I mean, if you're not familiar with the original Spider-Woman origin,
Mhm.
they had all the ingredients. They've already introduced Hydra.
Yep.
She was an agent of Hydra. She was sent to kill Nick Fury, which is established with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yep.
So they could have just done an origin story with her very easily. Because she started off as a bad guy, and as long as they're doing villains anyway, they could have started her off as a bad guy, and she eventually becomes a superhero.
Yep. Yeah, she
know?
could have spun out of the whole Secret Invasion thing because she had a big role in that comic series. So she could have just spun out of that. It would have been great, but
I mean,
again, they just missed the mark.
Let's just do Madam Web instead.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, this is Sony really trying to latch on to whatever they can with the Spider-Man, just the Spider-Man role. I mean, I'm looking at this chart right in front of me here. In the history of Sony Pictures coming out with movies, 9 of their top 15 highest grossing movies of all time are Spider-Man movies.
No, of course.
And like when I say it's not the top 3 are, well, number 3 is Skyfall, which James Bond is up there.
Yeah.
That's understandable. But number 1 and number 2 are No Way Home and Far From Home. And if I showed you the domestic box office for No Way Home, the last one, it would blow your mind.
Yeah,
I
because
think
it's Spider-Man.
Well, it's interesting
absurd.
because Sony with Marvel can create magic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when they go their separate ways, then they trip and fall.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yep.
And I think that they really need to just I'm going to be honest with them. They need to start working on that next trilogy of movies with Tom Holland.
Yeah.
If they really want to just, cuz like I still prefer the Tobey Maguire trilogy. Even the third one I consider a great movie. I love the new Tom Holland movies, and there's nothing there. I can't say anything bad about those movies. So they just need to get on with it and start working on those again.
I think what my understanding, and I could be wrong, is that Tom Holland doesn't want to do Spider-Man anymore.
Yeah.
No, he did do that. There was a time where he was saying that, and then he literally had a meeting with Sony, and then he's like, "No, I'll be back on for 3 more."
Yeah,
and he said he was like, "No, I'll be back on for 3 more," and then like the Sony president was like, "We can't wait to develop these."
I think
next
they
3
should just go
movies."
right into Miles Morales. They
Yeah.
should just
Or just
Agreed.
swallow their pride, and Sony and Marvel just start working together again and be done. Make a good
too many
movie.
egos.
Now,
Let's
now we're
split
getting
this
to
profit of Miles meets Peter, and
Yeah.
what
I
that
think
would
That
be.
should be the last Tom Holland one where he
We'll see. That's
hands the mantle over to
That's-
Miles
do basically
Morales.
the ultimate, the ultimatum thing, Death of Spider-Man, and have him basically die and pass it to Miles, and Miles is Spidey, and we're done.
See, that's the thing though that with Sony is I know that they have deals with like Peter Parker. I think that Miles Morales is still completely a Sony character, and I think that's like their golden goose that they're really.
It is.
It absolutely is. It has to be. And like they're gonna wait. They're obviously waiting till after the last animated movie comes out.
But I swear to God, if they fuck up,
If they mess up Miles Morales, I might be.
the live action Miles, oh my God, if they fuck that up, it's done.
Like I'm gonna be honest with you. I have been very critical of superhero movies for a long time now. If they mess up Miles Morales, he is my last like big hope. And if they mess up that, and Doctor Doom, if they mess up those 2, then I think I'm done with Marvel films for just a little bit.
That would be. I will never say I'm done. Just like every year I say I'm done with the NFL, and I'm not.
Oh,
But
speaking of Miles,
Mhm.
I didn't see you anywhere on the calendar the part 2 is coming out.
no.
No,
So-
because I have news on that because there were delays with the voice actors. Jake Johnson kind of let it slip in a interview that he hadn't even recorded his lines for Michael B.
Oh, that's a
Peter B.
problem.
Parker.
Really?
No, he hadn't even. That film was slated to come out in May.
Because I know that
And they
the
just-
actor for Miles, Shakur,
Shakur, what's his name?
Yeah, he's on board from everything I've heard, and he's doing the whole. I mean, he's been at numerous cons I've been at, that kind of stuff.
No,
he's out and about wanting this.
He's done. I think he's done. I think it's everyone else. I think because Jake Johnson's a pretty big part of that movie.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he was
he is.
like, I hadn't even recorded lines for that movie yet.
Jeez.
Wow.
They better get on the ball here.
Well,
I
it was
mean,
supposed to come out in May, and it's definitely not coming out in
Yeah,
May.
it's-
So
oh,
Maybe we'll get it by the end of the year. Maybe they'll because
I don't even
surprise
see it
me.
on the calendar.
no, but I'm thinking that
I
that
don't
might be
think-
next year, maybe year after.
I think it's traditionally those animated films have come out in February, or January. But it wouldn't surprise me if they have it just kind of casually drop during holiday season this year. But
Ooh.
also, it would be a great holiday film.
It would. Think
Oh.
of the box office.
Think
that
of
would
the
be.
box office on a Christmas opening. Oh
Yeah.
my God,
Yeah.
I'd go.
And along with doing that with the animated, all of the toys that are going to be sold.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a great Christmas holiday time of the movie.
Yeah. It would be great.
Sweet. Well, that was another episode, folks. Sorry, it was all Marvel. Well, Aquaman was mentioned.
Come on, DC. You need to pick up your pace.
DC,
man.
Sorry, we're not sorry.
Yeah, just step up.
Yeah.
Give Sasha Kai her own Supergirl movie and be done. But, I mean, again, thank you guys. We appreciate it. We'll get into DC at some point, I guess, whenever they do something. But we appreciate you as always. Please go like, subscribe. Tell us what you think, what you like, what you don't like. You can follow us we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, anywhere podcasts that can be found. You can listen to us, see us if you want to. If you we obviously aren't models, so if you don't want to look at us, just go and listen to us. That's fine. You can also find us on Facebook, X, Instagram, all those places. Check us out. Leave comments. Let us know what's going on. You can find Ben also. Where can they find you, Ben?
You can find me on Facebook, X, TikTok, all those places. I'm everywhere. I'm not hard to find.
Yeah, there's some really cool Antarctic stuff that's out there. So please, if you aren't familiar or haven't given Antarctic a chance, some of the stuff that, like for me, I recommend, because they've been around a while, they have a huge archive of stuff. Ninja High School is a great read.
Oh, thank you.
Especially the older stuff for me. But I'm old, so what I know. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
Take care.